everyone, and welcome back to the channel and to another discovery around the Norfolk area. We roam up and around some massive ramparts and earthworks and walk the site in which 3 generations came together to build a stronghold. Join us for an unexpected explore at what we think is a real hidden gem here at Castle Acre. Settled in a quiet and lovely historic village in North Norfolk, Castle Acre stands on a hill above the River Nar, where the ancient Peddar's Way crosses the river, and at opposite ends of the village is Castle Acre Priory, an 11th century Cluniac monastery that is one of the best preserved and largest monastic sites in the UK. Keep watching the channel and you can expect to see this beautiful priory in another video. So some history about Castle Acre. Castle Acre Castle is a Norman fortress on a site first used by the Romans. This was known by the site being on the Roman road from Thetford to Brancaster. The Normans established a planned town outside the castle walls, and the 13th century Bailey Gate entrance to the town still stands, astride the modern road into the village. On first viewing of the castle, you are met with the incredible earthworks and the remains of a Motte and Bailey castle, which is also classed as a Grade 1 listed building. At the time of the Norman conquest of 1066, Norfolk was one of the most populated and wealthy areas of the British Isles. At Castle Acre itself, there was already a Saxon settlement headed by a major landowner called Toki. In the wake of the Norman victory at the Battle of Hastings, he was one of the many existing landowners who was disposed with the former property granted to a Flemish warrior, and then it passed to his daughter, Gundrada. It was around 1070, William de Warham, later the first Earl of Surrey, married Gundrada and took control of Castle Acre and the substantial estates that surrounded it. He was one of 4 lords that was appointed to govern England during William the Conqueror's absence in Normandy. William also held Conisbrough Castle in England. Within 3 generations, this family had created a castle, the priory and the rampart which surrounded the pretty village of Castle Acre. There was already a settlement here before he arrived to the site, but he chose to live here in residence after already acquiring land in Sussex and Yorkshire after fighting at the Battle of Hastings. During the anarchy, the civil war between Matilda and Stephen over the English succession, the castle was significantly strengthened. In particular, around 1140, the inner Bailey curtain wall was rebuilt in stone, and the earthworks surrounding it were enhanced. The ground level of the inner Bailey was also raised by about 2.5 metres, partly burying the stone house upon which it was centred. Work then commenced to convert this house into a keep, and this process was seemingly stopped early in the 1140s, but work later resumed, albeit on a smaller scale, and was complete by 1160. The former Saxon town was replanned and rebuilt during this period, with 2 stone gatehouses constructed around 1200. The site was later to be inherited by William III's daughter, Isabel, in 1387, but the castle had little use and became derelict and abandoned. It was in 1558 that Castle Acre was sold off to the 4th Duke of Norfolk, and then finally bought by Sir Edward Coke, whose descendants still own the site today, although it's now managed and maintained by the English Heritage. The site was indeed strategic. It needed to be for William to be able to transfer his goods by 2 different means, especially in an age where road transport was extremely difficult. He used an ancient trackway, the path named the Peddar's Way, and the River Nare for his supplies. He would also be able to impose tolls on the travellers who wanted to pass through the town by road or river. What is really interesting about Castle Acre is its earthworks. They are truly fascinating to see from above, so we encourage you to stick around to the end to see them from the air. It was a highly visible fortress, and as previously mentioned, it was never purely military placement. It instead served as a base for the lords to oversee justice, and also enjoy their hobbies such as huntings, and a place to welcome and entertain important visitors, including royalty. William replanned the town and surrounded it with the massive earth banks and deep ditches, which largely survive and which look so picturesque and stunning. After crossing the iconic drawbridge, you are met with the first stonework on the site, which was a rectangular hall. This hall originally had at least 2 stories and was divided by an internal east to west cross wall. At some point during construction, the house was converted into a keep by blocking off the ground floor openings and doubling the thickness of the walls, and some additional interior walls. Similar actions were taken at Portchester Castle's keep near Portsmouth. The area now empty was once full of buildings that would have once supported the castle and all of its community in the Middle Ages. If you were standing or walking around, you would be walking in the outer bailey of the castle, an area that was always busy, bustling and full of stables, workshops and many more storehouses. Right in the centre, you can see a large rectangular earthwork that still marks out the position of the Great Hall, where the community dined together and court hearings took place. And at the eastern end of the hall was a chamber block, which was the more private part of the Lord's accommodation. There was also a kitchen that was separated by a wall, but still close by. Between the hall and the inner bailey, another building was there, and this could have possibly been the castle's chapel. Surrounding its entire area is an enclosure of ditches and high banks. Originally, they would have been capped with stone walls. You can still see some fragments today. For us, being able to visit here was wonderful. We weren't quite sure what to expect, but the site is just beautiful and it makes for a fantastic and interesting afternoon out. The best thing about visiting here is that the site is unmanned, so you can come and go as you please and enjoy the landscape and scenery in all its glory. There is also free parking just outside with an ice cream truck that is stationary there. I love how the site really just opens up once you walk down and around the stairs on your way to visit the castle. And you can also see the flowers in bloom in whatever season you go there. So if you've enjoyed our visit to Castle Acre, then please be sure to hit that like button. Consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already, and click that notification bell for more videos. We want to say a massive thank you to our Patreons, and to those watching, thank you. We'll see you next week. Till next time.